y'all doing? I just got back from Louisiana. It's been an interesting couple of days. To go home. We got all this beautiful freaking weather here. And all this beautiful weather is what's causing some really bad weather where some friends of mine are. So this area of pressure and weather and everything is pushing that hurricane down and aiming it at Florida, and some of them are probably getting hit right now as I speak. Definitely by the time I release this, they'll be getting hit. So it's like, look at this beautiful weather. Nothing's free, man. I've got this beautiful weather. Look at that sun, look at the sky, look at everything. It's beautiful. Irrigation ditch, fields been plowed, got some rice paddies over there. Some grass fields. Works out pretty good for them. We got hit with a hurricane a few months ago. County just now really getting around any cleanup where I live. You know, and it's not just that. I can show you stuff that's still demolished, even in Florida. I can take you down 75, show you signs that have been down since a hurricane 20 years ago. And they're still down. There's people still dealing with claims from Harvey here. And I will say this, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of FEMA for several reasons. I've done a lot of work for FEMA. Do appreciate the money. But number one, the way I'm hearing about them treating people right now. And the other is, like, after Harvey, I didn't see FEMA at all. I did see Christian ministries. And what they think about me, I don't give a damn. You know? Believe it or not, I'm not an atheist, number one. I got issues with some stuff with the church, but I'm not an atheist, and those people were out there helping. I have no problem with them. And then there was HEB. If you're in Texas, you know who HEB is. It's our grocery store. They had their trucks out there helping everybody. And I'm like, there's no need for me to go to Walmart. Walmart treats truck drivers like complete shit. And I don't like them anyways. Hey mama, how you doing? That's mama dog over there. I don't know if y'all saw her. Some people are leaving food and stuff out for her. She got puppies. But only people I saw giving help as far as corporations and shit going were Christian ministries and HEB. FEMA, I still ain't seen them where I live. After the last hurricane, I paid someone to get all the trash and debris and everything, because I wasn't going to wait 3 or 4 months with that shit piling around and killing my grass and everything else. You know, so it goes on long after that, though. 6 months from now, people are still going to be dealing with insurance companies. They're still going to have a loss. There's people's jobs that won't be there. Their jobs is gone. They lose everything, lose their job, they lose all of it. You're starting over from zero, you know, when something that bad hits. So the hurricane that hit us wasn't too bad. It messed up a lot of stuff, don't get me wrong. There were roads you couldn't drive down. It looked like you were trying to cut your way through a jungle in the 1500s, you know? You needed a machete. All the vines and everything just blown across the road. It's like nature just overtook it. And that's a storm for you. They said it, a lot of people are saying that was bigger than a category 1. It was probably a 2 or a 3. And I know we were having over 100-mile-an-hour wind gust at my house. So it's like, it would be good and then it would be bad, and it would blow and then it would be fine and then it would blow, you know, as those bands come in. But a year later, people are still trying to put their lives back together, you know? What was that? It didn't move, did it? I don't think so. No, it didn't move. You never want your peg to move when you put your foot on it. That's not a good thing. I had it kind of kicked up a little bit. 2 years later, people's lives are still affected. There's a lot of people in Houston that moved here. You know, they evacuated here. They had family here from Katrina, which Katrina, I went into Florida. I outran it. I got out of Florida. It went through Florida. I went back into Florida. I picked up my load, got out of Florida, and it was supposed to hit where, what was Helene or whatever, that last storm that hit Florida. It was supposed to go right up through there like that storm did. Except it was coming from, you know, across Florida and turn up. It did not do that. I got as far as I could get with my logbook and everything. And I was tired because of dealing with, you know, going in and getting out and, you know, trying to outrun a storm and all that. And I went to sleep in Hammond, Louisiana at the Petro. Some of y'all know exactly where that is. I woke up and that was like the largest storm on record before it dropped down. I think it hit like a category 3, you know? But it was like the most powerful thing anybody had ever seen, and then it dropped down in size. And it actually wasn't that bad until after the storm passed. I mean, it was a hurricane. It did damage. It did what hurricanes do. But after the storm was gone, after the levee broke, you know, 12 years later, I was still picking up generators out of New Orleans. I mean, think about that. 12 years later, I was still picking up generators for FEMA and taking them back up to Fort Worth that had been brought down there because they were still rebuilding infrastructure from a hurricane. That might be hard for some people to process. That was like 10, 12 years later. Still, we're talking a decade later, you know? That's a long time. And FEMA still had their inflatable buildings and all that set up, you know? So you go down there. Well, honestly, yeah, my Cardo's saying low battery. I went down there to pick up this trailer, and they were trying to say, what was it? I needed an overweight permit because the load was going to be 78,000 pounds, something like that. Louisiana with overweight, overdimension, anything like that is a pain in the ass getting through it. And I'm thinking, this just doesn't add up. So I took the money. Oh yeah. I went down there, I went to FEMA's little inflatable building, and the lady came out there, and I'm looking at it, and it's just a standard generator on a 20-foot chassis, you know? And I'm like, where are you getting the weight for this thing from? And she pointed to the side of the frame, you know? And I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it wasn't overweight, obviously. I didn't think it would be. Did I give the money back? Oh, hell no. Yeah, we had the largest mass gun confiscation from law-abiding, legal gun owners. The government illegally taking their weapons after Katrina. People just trying to survive. When they needed their guns the most, the time they needed them the most, the government said, fuck you, you don't need your guns. So do I trust the government? Hell no. I don't care about the battery status. I'm not talking on my Cardo. Things talking in my ear. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. But, yeah. Look at the abuse of power. The government, when you give the government the chance, that's why I don't think the government should have near the power that it does. It originally wasn't supposed to. I don't care if you're left or you're right. And if your team is in control right now, your cult, which at this point, you might as well call the political parties in this country a cult. They're almost like a religion, and you got to follow it to the T or you're ostracized. You know, it's like, some of this over here sounds good, some of that over there, a little more of this over here than that, but there's no common sense in it. And if your team's in power right now, just remember, the opposing team's probably going to have it next. And they're going to have the same powers that you gave yourself, and they are going to use that against you. Any power you give your enemy will be wielded against you. Any power you use against your enemy will eventually be used against you. Which is a scary thought when you think about we're the only country that's ever used a nuclear weapon against somebody else. Yeah. Historically speaking, it will be used against you. So we ought to have, government should be given whatever power is necessary. They shouldn't be stopping people from helping. I don't know if that's a bunch of internet bullshit, or if they were actually doing it, or if it's just because, like, you get some YouTuber or something like that out there and they're causing problems for everybody else, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea what the story is. I haven't looked into it. I do know that 90% of the crap that we're fed, whether it comes from the right or the left, is gaslighting, or it's just false shit designed to steer us in a certain direction. So I don't trust any of it. Well, if they're stopping people from helping, that's bullshit. So back to Harvey. What did we do here? If you had a boat, if you had a Sea-Doo, if you had an anything, if you had a jacked up truck, they were going into the subdivisions. They were getting people out. People were helping people. Neighbors were helping neighbor. Nobody cared about race. They didn't care about who you slept with or anything else like that. That was humanity coming together. That thing that makes us human. We help each other. There was, I'm sure you've all seen the meme, and where have you found neutral today, class? Right there. But I'm sure you've all seen the thing on the internet where the scientist lady was asked, or whatever the science is, when, civilization began, what would she find? They're talking pottery. She's like, no, a femur that had been broken and healed, because in nature you die. Somebody had to help you through that. That's kind of what makes us human, that in itself, helping of others. We had the looters come out. You had your local meth heads stealing copper. You had your gangbangers. You had all that stuff depending on where you're at. And here's how we put a stop to it. Nobody had to be shot. We just made an armed presence known. We're just open carrying, walking around and let people know, hey, we see somebody on that property over there, we're gonna fucking shoot them. All of a sudden, nobody was stealing anybody's four-wheelers, nobody was stealing copper, nobody was stealing anything else, because they're like, oh yeah, these people are gonna shoot you. You looked out for your neighbor who evacuated. You watched their property. And in this last hurricane, we didn't have any problems with the looters. Why? Because they know we'll shoot them. Somebody wasn't home, you watched their property. It doesn't even matter if you're mad at that neighbor, you know. In a time like that, you kind of put all that aside. You could be having an argument about a fence line or this, that, or the other, or they run their mouth too much, or, you know, this neighbor's always talking a bunch of shit they don't know nothing about. We don't care about that in a natural disaster. We care about, you're human? Okay, I'm human. You got pets? Yeah, I got pets. You got livestock? Oh, you need some help with them? You got, I mean, it's, you know, people helping people. It's a shame that it takes a tragedy to bring that out. You know, I've seen people lose everything, you know. And like one of my issues with the church was back from Harvey, you know, Mr. Olstein, and I didn't like his father too much. He's not usually that bad. Like his message, if you corner him like media personalities like to do. And what do you think about homosexuality? What do you think about this? He's going to give you the biblical answer. And then he's going to go to a point of, you know, but we still love you, and do I agree with it? No, that's what he's going to give you. It's like, no shit, he's a pastor, you know. I've got more issues with him on the money thing. I don't have any issues with that. I don't have too much of an issue of like his actual sermons. They're usually coming from a place of hope and what have you. I'm not into the prosperity gospel thing, and he's not as much one of them as a lot of the other preachers are. Not into big churches or any of that. But his doors were closed, and he's like, we just put carpet down. It's like, I don't give a damn. You know? You could have been letting people into that church. That's what the church is for. The church isn't there to look pretty. The church is there to serve the community. You know? That's kind of the issues. And, you know, back to, you know, would Jesus wear a Rolex? That sort of thing. I think I've talked about that before. You know, it's... But then you have people like Mattress Mac. Mattress Mac is a businessman. Oh yeah, if you didn't get it by that guy, or get clued in by that guy walking by me, you will see people on horses out here, but a lot of times it's like a black dude on a horse. So if you have some John Wayne image of Texas, you might want to go to Hollywood, and you might find it there, because that's where that image comes from. You have a lot of people's image of Texas was created in California by people who never saw Texas, or if so, just saw it briefly. Usually when you see somebody on a horse riding down here, it's a black dude and his family. But anyways, it's the recovery from the hurricanes. The media is going to be all over this new hurricane. They might have a week or two, maybe even up to a month, and they're going to forget about it. They're going to move on to the election, and they're going to forget about all of these people who are going to be rebuilding their lives from nothing. Because the media, I don't care what you watch, they're pieces of shit. I don't care if you watch Fox News. I don't care if you watch CNN, MSNBC. You watch whatever you want to watch. You want your brain washed to the left, watch MSNBC. You want it washed to the right, watch Fox News. They're all pieces of shit. And they're all going to move on. And they're going to follow the bouncing ball of outrage. And they're going for the views. And they don't really care about people. Not unless you're going to watch them care about people. You know? If you've ever been involved in a situation where the media was involved, you knew what was really going on. And you saw how the media reported on it. You know? You'll find out real quick. They don't give a fuck about the truth. They just give a fuck about their narrative, whatever they're told to project. That's all they care about. You know, they're going to move on though. And they're still going to be rebuilding their lives. I know people who have just lost everything. And there are people I know that are probably fixing to lose everything again. And all I'm saying, keep thinking about them. Call them. Go, hey, how you doing? They need help and you can help them. Help them out. I'm not saying donate to every charity because I've got issues with charities. You know, turns out every one of them ends up being a scam. You know, so choose carefully. If you know individuals that you could help, if you have family that needs help, instead of donating to a cause, why don't you help that family member? If you're in Florida and you come out all right and your neighbor is hurting, why don't you help them? You know? There's always a way you can help. Red Cross has their issues. You know? Make sure you're comfortable with who you're donating the money to. But realize these people are going to need help for a while. They're not just gonna, you know, in a month's time everything, when they're all complaining about the election, you know, who did you choose? Did you choose the pile of shit we gave you on this side, or the pile of shit with sprinkles on the other? And they're gonna have their complaints or whatever about whatever's going on, and nobody's gonna be happy. And yeah, this election is kind of fucked. You know, there's one I definitely don't like, but back to the point. Yeah, they just give us shit or shit with sprinkles. You choose. While the media is moving on to that, people are going to have nothing. I don't know if you've ever been there. I've been homeless. I've been homeless as a child. And I've been homeless as an adult. And just sit there with nothing. You have nothing. And it's amazing how much help you can't get when you don't have an address. You know, employers want an address. Government agencies want an address. Then they want to send you to a shelter. If you've ever spent a night in a shelter, you're not going to want to spend a second night in a shelter, especially if you have kids. You know? But people have to do that to get an address. But that's if you live in a city. If you're out in the country, you know, I grew up in the country. And now you lose everything. Where do you go? There's people that are going to lose their cars, bikes, their everything. So they got no transportation. You know, like the people in the Carolinas right now. And the news is going to be shifting its focus from the Carolinas to Florida and all that. Well, all you got to do is call in, go to this website. Well, they don't have phones, they don't have electricity, they don't have internet. So how are you going to help them? You know, that's another bitch of mine, is we got this world that's increasingly going to this impersonal, go to a website bullshit, and fuck you. You want to live in that world? Fuck you. You know, there needs to be a person on the other end of the line. There needs to be people there that you can talk to. I hate that shit. In an emergency situation, there definitely has to be someone there. There has to be people there that can help. You know? And if you can't get to everyone, don't stop the people that are trying to help. You know, you're picking people out that are stranded. It's like where I live right now. Odds are I will never flood. Odds are. I'm not saying it won't happen, because that's one of my concerns with all the construction. The only time I've ever came close to flooding was due to construction. So it can happen, but the odds are pretty heavily against it. Why the fuck am I doing 55? Probably because I'm ranting. But what happens really easily is I can get flooded in. Because I'm in this little triangle between a bayou, a river, and a lake. It's technically an island. And what usually happens is I get flooded out from two directions and I have one way out. That's one way out, you know? And it's come pretty close to losing that one way out. That was loud. This last hurricane, if it wasn't for rednecks and chainsaws, because fortunately, us people that live out here, us rednecks, and I am a redneck, if you haven't picked up on that. I'm as redneck as they come. We got chainsaws, we got pickups, we got all that kind of shit. Was it FEMA that helped us? No. It was your neighbor. That's who helped you. Your neighbor helps you. And we cut the trees, and we drug them out of the road, and we cleared the path, and we helped people get out. Because that's what we do. Did we care who you were? No. Did we care if you look like us? No. Do we care if you speak English? No. Most of that's hyped up. I know there's some racist fuckers out there. You're never going to get rid of that. I don't care what utopian society you think you're going to create. You're never going to get rid of that shit. Ever. Just hopefully it's a small portion. Hopefully it's like it was like before 2 administrations ago, when people laughed at people like that and pointed at them instead of giving them a platform and making them bigger. That's another issue. But we don't care what language you speak. We don't care where you're from. We don't care if you're here legally or not, or any of that. In a situation like that, no. Do you need help? Are you human? If you got pets, help them too. You know? Like I said, that is what it is to be human. Fuck the government. Fuck all them assholes. That is human. Helping each other in a time of need. It's not just that, you know. It's the cup of sugar that you sent your kids to get from the neighbor. You know. It's the your friend's lawnmower's broke and he borrows yours. It's the guy on the side of the road that's broke down and you stop and you help them. It's the lady changing a tire that you stop and you help her. It's, a friend of mine, he got hurt real bad at work, and his wife didn't have any transportation because he took their only transportation to work, and she's stuck at home with kids, and I took her to the hospital. And you don't expect anything for it. You don't want anything for it. You know what I mean? That's not something you do for money. It's not something you do for a paycheck or anything like that. It's something you do because... I don't know why I'm slowing down this much. It's something you do because that's your fellow human. And that's what you do. They're in need and you help them. All the other issues take a back seat. Do you need a border? Yes. Do you need a wall? Probably not. You could probably cut the money off and that solve that problem pretty quick. But save us a whole lot of tax dollars. Our government just loves spending our tax dollars. But see, I could get into all kinds of rants. But in a situation like that, do you give a fuck? No, you don't. You help your fellow humans out. You help. It's not even just humans. It's other animals and stuff too, livestock, pets, what have you. You see a kitten in the water, you help the kitten out, and hey, I don't know where you came from, but here's someplace dry. Here's some food for you. I got some food I can share. It's basically just not being a piece of shit, So keep everybody in your thoughts and prayers, and I'm going to enjoy this beautiful weather over here, even though it's probably causing a nightmare for some friends of mine. Everything's connected. We're all connected. We're all God's children. We're of this earth. The only thing I know for sure in this world is that we are of this earth. We come from this earth. Every molecule that makes up your body comes from this earth. And one day it will be returned to this earth and repurposed for something else. Whether you call that intelligent design, whether you call that evolution, whether you call that whatever it is, you can look at it from a religious point, you can look at it from a scientific point. The fact is, we are from this earth and we will be returned to this earth. That's the only thing I know for sure in this world. So, help people out, Forget about the election. Who gives a fuck? If the last 4 years has proved anything, we actually don't need a president. The establishment seems to run things pretty fine themselves. I'm sorry. They knew Biden's brain was gone when they elected him in the office. We just need your corporeal form. Yeah. They had so many better choices they could have went with. But anyways, without getting too political, y'all take care. Keep our fellow Americans in Florida in mind, in your thoughts, in your prayers. And remember, in a week or two, when the media forgets about them, they're still going to be hurting. They're still going to need help, So, thanks for listening to me rant, and I'll catch you later. Adios. Mashla. Ciao. All that good shit. Deuces. Bye.